everyone, this is NGL, where nothing gets left. This is a podcast where your anonymous questions turn into real and honest conversations. I'm joined here today with Nandini Darsi ma'am, our counsellor, someone who ensures that we don't just go through college, we stay sane through it. So, our first chapter is called The First Thought. And this is where we give you some rapid fire questions, and whatever is the first thought, the first word or phrase that jumps into your head, just shoot it out. So we've divided this into two sections. One discusses the moods and one discusses the mental health challenges that people face, okay? So I'll name a few moods and mental health challenges. First is happiness.
Joy.
Rage.
Deal with it.
Guilt.
Get over it.
Grief.
Part of life.
Fear.
Need to overcome.
So the next is mental health challenges.
Okay.
First is self-harm.
Self-harm. It can happen, but not the best thing to do.
Breakdown.
Breakdown is growth.
Neglect.
Neglect is accountability, responsibility.
Addiction.
Get over it.
Insomnia.
I think music.
Okay, so the next is origin files. So this is where we get to know about you as a person. Even though you're a counselor, people usually have this perception that counselors are someone who are very mature, who are someone who have their life settled, they know everything, they know how to deal with people. So in this segment, we get to know about you as a person, your childhood, your family life, etc. So before we get into your journey as counselor, let's take a small step back in time. And when we talk about mental health, it's a known fact that childhood plays a huge role. The way our childhood was, our family, it plays a huge role in how we become as a person. So what is your earliest memory as a child? And following that, how were you as a student? Were you an introvert or an extrovert?
Okay, very good question actually. So I think the earliest memory that I have of myself is my mom overfeeding me. I think you can see the effects, right? So, I think one of the best things is childhood, when you look back in retrospect, it is the best thing that happens to us. I was always a very playful child, positive, happy-go-lucky, giggly kind of a child. And I also have a very large family, like both sides, mom's side, dad's side. A very large family. So that allowed me to see people who a range of emotions, a range of skills, a range of experiences that I've had the opportunity to, encounter. And I think those definitely did shape who I am today.
So, most people stumble into careers by chance, or some people do it because that was the only choice that they had. So, psychology is something that feels like it was a calling, because it's something that you require a lot of emotions, a lot of, strong mindset. So, how did you come across this field? How did you think that you wanted to go into this field? And was there a moment or a person that made you realize that this is something that I wanted to go in? I wanted to deal with people's emotions and make them feel better.
Interestingly, I like the word you said, calling, right? Maybe it was a calling because it was a very happy accident that I got into, psychology. I chose English literature, and along with English literature, I had the opportunity to also take on psychology. But very quickly, I understood the power of psychologies, and I was drawn to it and loved reading, and I couldn't help share everything I heard in class. Once I went back home to my mom, to my dad, to my brother, and my friends, to my cousins. You know what? So about human behavior, it was so exciting. And it also helped me heal a lot as well. Small scars that we all take will be very kids experiences. It helped me understand myself. Psychology helped me put things in perspective as to why I would have experienced something the way I did, why I interpreted something the way I did. I got clarity. I understood a lot about myself and about humans. And definitely it strengthened me as a person over time.
So the next question is, how do you take care of your own mental health through the sessions that you sung care? Because people go through a lot of emotions, they go through a lot of pain, and a lot of the times therapy sessions get very heartbreaking. People have a lot of heart-aching things to share. So how do you deal with your mental health, your own emotions when you're going through such sessions?
A very powerful question that you asked, and it's a very relevant question for us as counselors, right? Because there are two things. One, because we listen to stories where we can only partially impact, we can't go and bring about change very directly. So it is heartbreaking sometimes. And sometimes we do tend to carry some of those allergies back into our own life. That's one. And the second thing is our own lives. We also go through it. Just as every human, we also go through a stuff. So I think it is important to develop certain healthy habits. One is about thinking itself, very positive thinking, reframing everything that we experience, our ability to understand where we have control and where we do not have control, and doing something where we do have control, right? These are some habits that we develop over time as counselors. The second thing is, as we keep going in our careers, I personally, for example, I had dogs. I love my dogs. I have 2 dogs. They are my therapists, actually. I spend a lot of time with them. I also enjoy being with people, spending time with people, family, cousins, and learning hobbies. Today I've learned to paint as well. Earlier when I was a kid, I used to love listening to music, dancing, etc. And now it's more of, listening to music still, and also painting, spending time in my garden, etc. So you need to develop hobbies, and I think that's what I've done.
As an outlet to
listen, as an outlet. And as I mentioned, thinking, the perspectives, your ability to understand, reframe in your mind as to where you can impact and where you need to, take a back step. As all of these will help us stay in control.
Yeah. So over the years, you must have met many students. You must have given them therapy sessions, and I hope that some of them must have come back and thanked you for
yours. Definitely.
Yes, for your sessions. So is there a particular story or a particular person or an interaction that has stayed with you till now, and looking back at it, you feel like this is why I chose this profession?
Yeah.
Like this was my calling, and I helped this person heal.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I felt that over the years. It's pretty much every job that I have done, people that I've interacted with, either as a counselor or as a professional that I interacted. Definitely there were times where I went home with a sense of satisfaction, feeling, yes, I've done, I've earned my pay today, So those kind of feelings are very frequent, thankfully. If you're asking me if there was one that I recall very significantly is, I met somebody in an aeroplane. In fact, incidentally, she was sitting right next to me in the flight. And she looked at me, recognized me immediately, and she said, "Oh my God, you were my, lecturer back in college. I used to teach psychology back then for students. And in fact, this was a postgraduate course. And so she took up, this developmental psychology so seriously that she built a terrible practice, and she found the right teacher in me, I suppose, at that point. In fact, I can say the same about my teacher as well, when I first discovered psychology. So yeah, I mean these memories do come once in a while and then make you feel yes, you're doing the right thing and keep moving forward. Yeah.
And was there ever a case where you felt you could have done something more? Where you could have maybe changed the way you went into, because therapy sessions have a lot of different practices that us put into. So is there some session or some case where you felt something could have been changed?
Yes, and again, this was one of my first roles, I suppose. I was a counselor in a school, and there was definitely a situation where, a young girl child, 8th grade or 9th grade, who came to me and, she was crying and there was a lot of stuff that was going on at home for her, which she can't even share at home because the problem was coming from home. And she was definitely scared that I would even go and tell the parents, right? But we do maintain confidentiality. It is important to maintain that kind of confidentiality for the child. So all I could do was encourage her to come often so that I could spend time and give her the skills that she would need to deal with at home, help her, plan certain things, prepare herself for how to deal with things like that. And while, I as a counselor was able to help in certain cases and in certain way for her, unfortunately there is not something I can do going and impacting the parents. And that's why even today in Anurag University also, our counseling department is soon going to launch a program for parents, exclusively for parents. This will be in a webinar format so that parents can join online. And we will also make sure it's on a Friday or a Saturday where the parents can spend time immersed through it. Our let's say objective for that webinar would be to educate and create awareness for parents as to how to understand their children better, the students, that period of being a student better, being a teenager, how to build communication with them, and what sort of skills that they can develop to better connect with their children. So we want to do that. So what we would have been limited in the past when I was younger, now I'm a little bit more matured enough to take action and do something about it.
So mental health issues are often overlooked, and as you said, family plays a huge role, and you're going to do something for the parents too.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, how was your family life and how was mental health discussed in your family life, both in your childhood and right now? And who do you think influenced your empathy and the way you communicate with people the most?
I definitely have to give credit to my parents. My mom and dad, directly or indirectly, they were human beings. They had their faults. Nobody is perfect. They did their best. And then, their own reflection, their own awareness, their own learning, and their conversations with us definitely help us understand about empathy. And as I mentioned, having a very large family, also I see the various transactions and how they interact with each other, how they show compassion, kindness to each other, anger also, fights also. It's now normal for a family. So all of those things became normal to experience all these emotions. And so you develop, maybe indirectly I developed that empathy a little bit there. But I have to say, it was definitely a learned trait through psychology. Once I understood, studied, practiced, and continue to practice, learned from it, I can say that it keeps improving day in and day out.
So this is the end of the segment, ma'am.
Okay.
The next is called Voices Unfiltered. So these are the questions that we got from the student.
Okay.
So we got these questions through NGL, which is an app where students can send anonymous messages. So this gives them the freedom to ask whatever they wanted to do. Because usually things related to therapy, things related to mental health are perceived as a taboo.
Yeah.
And usually students especially feel like they can't step up and ask these questions. So through this NGL app, we pose some questions.
Okay.
So the first question is relevant to the student community. How to focus on studies? And another student asked, how to deal with distraction?
Related questions, right? Because you want to study would automatically mean that you don't want to be distracted. Yeah, so today, compared to, let's say, the previous generations, every generation, as you see forward, is going to include more distractions. All right. And I was reading one quote which was very funny. Apparently, earlier, the attention span for humans was around 12 seconds at the time. And it has reduced to 8 seconds in the current generation. So our human mind naturally, wanders. In every few seconds, it will wander. So that span of attention has reduced over time. And what is funny is apparently the goldfish's attention span is better than human's span of attention these days. They have 9 seconds. Their span of attention is 9. Humans is 8. So you see, and all of this is happening because we have a lot of things going on in our life today. Every sense is stimulated because sense, the food, we have a variety of food, mobile phones, pretty much everything is distracting for us. So to your point, the other question which you had is about studies, right? Yes, I think developing healthy study habits is very important. Even today, from back then to now, the people who really are able to handle studies better are the ones who developed habits, good habits, like having a time to study every day. Just like some of you could go to the gym every day by discipline. Study should be the same way. It's another muscle that you are developing. So, I think there's no workaround developing a good habit to studies.
So, ma'am, how did you focus on studies? What were your habits?
Yeah, good question, right? So, I'm, like I said, I was mentioning earlier, I'm a very playful child. I did pay attention to school much. But I think I found my calling in psychology. I think when I found what I was most interested in, that's when I think I paid attention. And so it was easy for me to focus, to study. And at that moment, it was not studying, it was reading. So the difference between study and reading is study is something you do very not subjective, very objectively. But reading is very subjective. Imagination, interest, passion. There's a lot of connections that happen in your brain. So I think I started reading my subjects with that kind of a passion. And I enjoyed it. So when you enjoy it, you go back to it. I think that's how I develop better habits. Yeah.
The next question is, I'm very afraid of mid-exams. I think fearing exams is very common among students. So how do we deal with that?
So exams are a reality of a student's life, right? I think fundamentally we need to prepare. In the sense, the study habits are very, very relevant. If you prepare, let me share one story. When I was in college, this was still when I was a little childish, earlier part of my college life. One of my friends used to love, going to movies and bunking college. And I used to do the same thing with her because we had fun. We did that. But end of the day, she would get full marks and I would get none. So how is that? Because she used to go home and study. Her story thing. I mean, you work hard, party hard, no problem. But as long as you are working hard, then you'll be fine. Yes. So you need to know when to say no. Right? So that's important. We should know yourself. can't be just like others and copy others, but you have to find out what you are good at, how you handle your challenges, and ease it in that.
I think a lot of people have the problem with saying no to things as a seat.
Yes. So developing that is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our next response is, I build trust issues. Sometimes they're too close. It feels like they're very genuine, and I share everything about me, and the next day I get ghosted. I end up regretting everything I share. I really try to stop myself from oversharing, but I end up doing it anyway. So how do I stop myself from oversharing?
Very good and relevant question there. I think thanks for sharing, whoever shared that, because many of us do this. We feel disappointed afterwards because they share and then we don't get a reciprocal response from the other side, right? So I think for many of us, we should probably term someone a friend too early, right? Or we term someone as a cheerleader too early. I think it takes time to build friendships, right? And we need to remember that it's a process. It's not overnight. Just because you like someone, just because you part along very well, just because you have a lot of things you relate to, doesn't mean they're your friends for life.
Yeah.
So take time to build that trust, and slowly over years, you should be able to share. I mean, even today, I have like 30-40 very good friends from childhood till now. But I don't share everything with everyone. There may be only 2 or 3 that I share everything with. So developing some kind of a verbal discipline is important.
Yes.
And it actually plays a great part in every part of our life. In our ability to say no, all the things that we discuss, this verbal discipline will help us build relationships and also protect yourself.
So the next question is, how to overcome anxiety, and if something from which you have been recovered from happens again, maybe a family issue or a fight that repeats itself, how do I overcome the anxiety that comes with it, and how do I control my emotions?
So I think there is a saying that if history repeats itself, that means we haven't learned a lesson well. So we tend to address the same problem in the same way. So if you want the situation to change, we need to address it differently. And if things are repeating, it means we are doing things in the same way. We are addressing in the same way. So we need to step back, reevaluate. Sometimes it's also important to talk to significant others around us. Take their help. Sometimes your mentors, your parents, your siblings, elders in the family, they're all very helpful to address some of these issues. The other question you asked about is anxiety.
Yes.
Right? Anxiety is a reality we all experience because we have certain expectations. If the moment we get up till the moment that we see, we build expectations every day that I will have a good day.
Yes.
Right? I will pass my exam. I will make friends today. People will treat me nice. There are a lot of expectations we set. And that's what the more expectations you set up, the more anxiety you will feel. If you sort of take a step back and deal with everything that comes with a very positive, open mind, chances are your anxiety will reduce. And exam anxiety, it's a reality. We will have to deal with it. If for example, we fail, again failure it happens. Take an objective look at what are the reasons that I didn't clear a particular exam, which were the specific topics that I need to pay attention to them. And if possible, talk to your teachers or your elders, parents, and relook at how you address that exam overall. I think that will definitely help.
Okay. So you said about setting expectations, ma'am. I have many friends and me myself. I set my expectations to 0 or negative so that even if someone does something, they'll step up. to what we were expecting.
Yeah.
So, is that a healthy way to approach things?
Well, partly, but having said that, it doesn't mean you're always giving in to somebody else, right? You can develop an attitude of not having expectations from others, but if it's a give and take relationship, it's much more healthier, right? So you also will encounter and you will be able to evaluate if that other person is giving back to you or not. Then accordingly you should make a decision as to whether to continue to be with that person, engaging with that person, or finally met a fence, so to speak. So it's not about setting expectations, but if there is no give and take, then you need to rethink.
So, one of them asked how to overcome depression due to love failure. So, in this particular scenario, he or she wants to ask how to overcome depression due to age gap. So, there's some age gap.
Maybe age gap.
So, and this is a very relevant question because it's a university, there's teenagers all around. So, how to overcome something like this?
Very good. I'm glad somebody has asked that question because it's part of life at this age group. This is the kind when you are finding for significant others, and not just life partners, even best friends.
Yes.
You're finding your love for careers. Everything is now that you are figuring out. So that significant other is also during this time. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But everything was also a learning experience. I think it's important to get out of that mind that the movies that they find their soulmate the very first time.
Right.
No, maybe not. Yeah. You never know. And I think it's important to be objective, learn from that experience and I won. And I don't know if you're aware of this, something is called a grief cycle. Have you heard of a grief cycle?
Yes.
I think Kubler-Ross talked about it. And now, whether it is love that you lost, whether it's an exam that you failed, or whether it is a significant life that was lost in the family or on friends. But every time and everything something goes like this, there is a period of grief. And it has certain phases. The first one is denial. So even when the lump breaks, you're in denial. No, we'll be fine. Nothing happened, etc. Then comes anger. How can they do this? Or what's wrong with me? You're angry with yourself. You're angry with the person. You're angry with others who you think would have caused a rift between on. So there's anger and you place it on everybody and everything around you. And then comes a third one, which is bargaining, negotiating. Then you try to go back to the person and try to negotiate, make peace. You think new rules will apply and things will be all rosy. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And then the fourth thing hits. When you realize, none of this is working, the next thing is depression, which you were talking about. Now, depression is, let's leave it to specialists to diagnose whether it is depression. But what you might be experiencing is sadness, upset, disappointment, regret, so many negative kind of feelings you go through. And you feel low of yourself, your self-esteem is low, your self-love also sometimes goes slow. You're trying to question everything, all these things are happening in your mind. But you will overcome that too with time. And then comes acceptance. You realize, your positivity comes back, your optimism comes back, and you realize the world looks nice, beautiful. You start noticing the flowers and still looks nice. And slowly you're open-minded to another experience. So I think how this cycle plays out, the duration is different for each person, right? Some people get over faster, some people take time. But you have to be patient, calm, kind, and compassionate towards yourself. Allow yourself to pass through the stages, get to the acceptance phase fast. And take help. Your counselors or your friends, your family elders, anyone for that matter.
Okay, so the next question is, how do we induce emotional thinking in men rather than impulsive decision making? And how do we increase empathy towards the opposite gender?
That's interesting because I think that also talks about the stereotypes we grow with.
Yes.
Right? We sort of assume men are not emotional, or that only women are emotional. It's not true. Every one of us is emotional. We have our own ways of expressing, maybe, right? And a part of the problem is also in the way we bring our own children out. Conditioning, right? We segregate their. Yes, they give different tasks to each. We set certain expectations for each gender. Unfortunately, they do play out. But in reality, both men and women have emotions. I think it's normal. And to your question, how to learn and develop empathy towards other gender, I would say, just develop empathy for everybody, right? Expand your mind to understand that there are different responses from people. People respond differently to, for example, during the grief, how the experience might be very different. But our ability to understand will help us prepare that. So develop empathy is what I say, which is talk to people, understand what they are going through, try to put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, what would happen how would I react if I was in similar situation? The minute you tell yourself, what would I do if I was in this place, will give you some kind of the knowledge, clarity, even a thought as to how to address a pause, right? So always ask yourself, if this had happened to me, and then we won't be able to relate what they might be going through.
So it's an unfortunate thing, but men especially, the society is like this, that men are not given priority when it comes to mental health. Especially nowadays, men are stepping up with mental health conversations, but before it was not like that. They would not showcase their emotions, they would not showcase what they're going through. Even now, if someone is going through something, their friend group is also like, this is normal, you go through this. They don't give importance to their feelings. So how can this change?
It's interesting because what you're saying is that, people say, oh, men don't cry, boys you cry, right? So as if it's a sin to cry, right? But everybody feels pain and everybody cries. And it's also about us around them to make them feel comfortable when they feel weak. Around us, let's say the men in our lives, they may or may not show affection, but it's also us helping them feel as much as possible, right? So I think it's important to, for one, I think doing service definitely helps. Going and supporting, let's say, underprivileged children, orphanages, old age homes, going and spending time with them, giving back to society, even things like doing chores at home, helping your parents, helping the nieces and nephews, the little kids, going that extra, bending down and doing something will help you develop a lot more empathy and emotions and feelings in life, actually.
It's actually surprising because guys are Americans. I interacted with my friends and all. So I observed that they are working more at home than us girls. Like they're helping the moms out.
Very nice.
So it's slowly changing. It is changing.
Very nice. Yeah, I have also come across, men and women being comfortable. Like, you see a lot of girls today, horse riding, learning to do, other things, getting interested in engineering first. And the leftists and the boys are also interested in succeeding at home, in child rearing, etc. So these are all good changes.
Okay, so the next question is, what do spacing out and daydreaming indicate, and how do we deal with it?
Okay, so a very interesting question, Tanishta. So daydreaming is actually a very important element of creating imagination. People who can daydream, they're able to go into the tours, imagine, they're looking at different outcomes and things like that. So it's not a bad thing. If you are continuously then you need to develop certain habits again to pull yourself out of this. Yeah. So for example, allowing yourself to engage other senses also. See, for example, when you are daydreaming, you are somewhere else, you zoned out. If you were to develop other habits, such as maybe keep yourself certain alarm to drink water every once in a while, things like that. You have to develop certain habits to bring yourself out of it and engage in more activities rather than just sitting in one place. Put yourself in situations where you are more active. Those are some of the things that you can develop to get over that. However, never discount the power of daydreaming. It is important.
The next question is, are therapy sessions really confidential? Because that's what stops a lot of us from reaching out. So, because counseling sessions are confidential, what if there's something that needs a really drastic change? Like the student is feeling really sad, like he's in depression, and you have to take drastic changes. So you'll have to contact their parents in order to take some steps. So how do you deal with those type of case?
Yeah. And again, a very relevant question for the information of the audience also out there, that the key principle on which counseling operates is confidentiality. So when the significant difference between a certified counselor, a professional versus someone who claims to be a counselor is exactly that it's part of our professional ethics that we are not supposed to share what the client, we even call them as clients, share with us, right? So that's how we are weighed professionally to engage, how we engage with clients. To your second point, if there is some kind of sadness that is scary or it's of concern, and then definitely we will think of other ways. For example, anything to do with self-harm. We can't necessarily someone who's indulging in self-harm or harm for others also. Both are the only situations where we may want to encourage the parents to get a hear, definitely. But those are all very rare situations. Might be a certain point where we would do that. Having said that, I hope the audience is also aware that we at Anurag also have a protocol for suicide prevention. Very recently, we've sort of formalized, and this is for everybody. In case you observe somebody you feel that might be at risk for themselves or someone else, do consider reaching out through the protocol. Actually, you could encourage the person also to first reach out in the protocol, because chances are you may be able to help them.
Yes.
Right? It would come to one of us in the counselors. And then if required, we can recommend what they need to do or see another professional if required. Right? So, other than those two situations, it is very, very confidential. We would not share with teachers even or your own friends. But
so, if in case the parents are involved, is there some different type of counseling that the parents also go through? Because there can be cases where the parents don't want to admit that there's something wrong with their child. It's like they claim their child is mobile. So, is there some type of therapy session for them?
Yeah, I mean, we do encourage the parents to also come and talk. But it doesn't have to be just the college environment. They can choose to go and talk to a counselor they are comfortable with. This has nothing to do with the university or the educational institute at all, right? So that is for the person. And we do definitely counsel them. We give them some advice. Some parents do wish to talk. Some parents may not be so open-minded as sharing in the college environment. Same fears. They're not sure, if things are kept confidential or not. So they may be more comfortable to talk to somebody else as another professional outside in another clinic or a counseling service that they are aware of. So it depends on case to case, and then accordingly you do advise.
So has there ever been a case where the parents were really seeking you out, but then it was the student who didn't want to?
Yes, and it happens as well. And there are many cases like that, because sometimes they come as referrals from parents or even teachers. Then they come as referrals, but the students are unclear as to why they were referred, because there is still that reflection has not happened for the student. And once they come, they talk, they realize, okay, they are not part of the system. They're for me. They want to help me. And through a couple of conversations, they do open up. So it can happen. Equation could be anyway. It can start with the student and then we engage with the parents. But it could begin with the parents and then we engage with the students. But whoever is the client, they are our folks.
Right. So the next question is, if you could give one mental health tip that works for almost everyone, what would it be?
Mental health tip to everybody. I think I say this in my mental health sessions also, that be your own best friend. Bas. There's nobody who can love you more than yourself. Yeah. So don't put yourself short of anything. Trust yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And enjoy your life. I think that is more important. God has given us this life to enjoy, to learn, to do some good for others. And so what I can only say is be your own best friend.
Okay. So there's another question. So a lot of students feel underconfident into sharing their ideas with the lecturers or other friends also, because there's either someone overshadowing the participation in the class, or they themselves feel like they can't approach a lecture.
Yeah.
So how do we go with these type of situations?
So that's a reality. Unfortunately, what happens is teachers are also humans. We also, even when I'm in class, for example, obviously I see people who are more active, right? Naturally, it is our tendency to focus on that. And however, as part of our own learning, adult learning methodologies as we call, or student learning methodologies, we understand that we need to bring our focus to students who don't speak up also. And that's how we've increased interaction in classes. Some of you would have noticed, some classes we bring more interactivity, Zoom activities, anonymous feedback. These are the things that we enable students to come and speak more. So what I would say is fundamentally find your own way to connect with your teacher. Maybe through WhatsApp if it makes sense, or after class if it makes sense, if you're not comfortable speaking during class, after. Or sometimes let's say out of maybe some students speak in all classes, but ask yourself, or give yourself a goal and say, I will speak at least once in a week, like in class. So give yourself a goal and work towards. We all work slowly. Everything is a journey. It is not plus and minus. It's the reality is all in between. So take a moment, take that one step, keep going forward.
The next question is, there's a lot of stigma around going to therapy, and words like depression, anxiety, OCD is being used very casually these days among husband. Yeah, I'm experience. So your thoughts upon
So you actually two things you mentioned. One is about the stigma around therapy, and the other thing is overusage of words such as OCD and depression. So I think let's not self-diagnose first step foremost. What you feel are emotions, which are natural for all of us. Well, leave it to the professionals. Go talk to somebody. I think, let them guide you into helping yourself. I think that is important when you're feeling overwhelmed. Let me put it this way. Whatever emotion is overwhelming, if it is overwhelming continuously, then go talk to somebody else, for sure. With regards to stigma of therapy, I think that is changing. In recent times, there are more people willing to go and speak with a specialist. Just like we go to a health specialist, to the gym, same way you go speak to somebody, how to develop better habits, health habits, right? We definitely can go and talk to somebody. And another reality is, in the past, maybe we even were in larger families, lived with larger family environments, we had somebody to talk. Today, that is not necessarily the case. And, the generations are also so different. The generation is different in many ways. So, talking to a specialist is more possible now, and you have an opportunity also. I mean, when I was in college, I don't think I had a counselor in my college. Neither did I have access to health professionals where I worked this much as it is these days. So I think the stigma is definitely reduced.
Okay, so that's the end of the segment and the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
We had a lot of incredible insights that we got, and I'm sure the audience also feels the same way. Mental health isn't just a random topic that you can focus on. It's a fundamental, it's a sort of like a foundation of your entire life. So through your session, we could understand that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tanishka. You've been a wonderful host, and I'm hoping the audience also enjoyed listening to us. There's a lot more, and please continue to explore and understand more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.